Get in, nerds! We are playing Victoria 3. We are going to be playing our new run as Spain, because it is the Iberian Twilight DLC. I've already played Spain and Portugal. I didn't think Paradox were going to go for them so soon. So this is going to be a little different. But last time we did Spain and Portugal, we were doing some very different stuff. Portugal, I was going for a tall run, which I mostly succeeded at. And then Spain, I was going for this rural folk powered thing. This time we're going to do a little bit more imperialism. So here's what's up with Spain at the beginning of the game. Ruling in the name of the young Queen Isabella, Queen Mother and Regent Maria Christina has been forced to cede power to Spanish liberals to secure the throne against the Carlist threat. Can this threat be curtailed, or will another ominous decade come to pass? We're going to start with a civil war with Carlist Spain, which those of you who are familiar with Hearts of Iron 4 will definitely not recognize as a situation. So let's see what's going on here. By the way, we got the new thematics up. They're very nice. We got this nice thing going on. We got this lovely map. So we're in a good spot. So cash flow, we're down extremely bad. We're down extremely bad. Alright, well, them's the breaks. We're a little short on bureaucracy. That's causing some government dividends tax waste. Or that's causing some tax waste. We're pretty low on authority. Our GDP is very small. Or we're high on authority. That's good, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to... That's a tobacco icon. I changed the icon for tobacco. They change any other icons? Any other... Scroll the right thing, please. Thank you. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's only tobacco. So, let's get started here. Let's see. Gold mines absolutely need the Atmo pump engine on those. No question about that. Ah, yes. Plantations have new production methods. So let's take a quick look at these. We have a column. We currently have standard labor. We also have some additional options here. Violent treatment. You are not allowed to have enacted. You are not allowed to have enacted. What? I think this should say. I think what this means is you're not allowed to have this method because you haven't enacted any of colonial slavery, debt slavery, or slavery banned. What do we currently have? Well, hold on. Let's just look at what it does and then we'll deal with it. Minus 25% building wage target, minus 75% job attractiveness for laborers, minus 2 standard of living for slaves, 20% increased mortality for laborers, and plus 2.5% slave imports. And then we've got exploitative practices here, which looks like half the standard of living and mortality increases of violent treatment. Same building wage target, but not as much of a reduction to job attractiveness for laborers, which is interesting. And standard of labor is no modifiers. We also have a second set here under tobacco and sugar plantations. Let's take a quick look at that. We've got hand-rolled for tobacco plantations. We've also got an option for molds, which produces more tobacco, increases employment of laborers and slaves, reduces employment of machinists. That's curious. And then we've got electric rollers down here, which produces a lot more tobacco. That's interesting. Hand-rolled, molds, and electric rollers. Okay, so we can make them less labor efficient, but it produces more. And for sugar plantations, we've got ox-driven rollers. We got vacuum pans, which adds a coal input, but increases productivity. Steam-powered mills, which adds a coal and engines input, but increases productivity. And then centrifugal machines doubles the coal and engines input, but significantly increases productivity. And there's still the automatic irrigation method available for these. Silk plantations were at the same methods we always are. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see. What was I looking for? I was looking for government admin. I do not have a capacity to produce a standardized filing system, so I need to obviate this bureaucracy shortage one way or another. Institutions are all at level 1. I would like to get some of those a little bit higher. So, let's take a quick look. Do we have any place we're low on taxation capacity? We are here in Galicia, so this is the perfect location to increase taxation capacity. Each level is going to produce 2, so we're actually short. It's going to produce 10, so we're actually short by 2 levels here. So we're going to queue in 2 of those. That's going to need to be done reasonably quickly, but right now, I think the priority is going to be construction sectors. Let's get an additional one built here in Castilla. Castilla la Nueva. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, all right. So we're using different names, slightly different names. Extremadura is similar. Baja Andalusia, Atla Andalusia, Murcia, Valencia, Castilla la Vieja, León, Asturias, Galicia, Aragon, and Catalunya. All right, I think that's pretty. It might take me some time. I think maybe Valencia and Murcia used to be one state before, something like that. We've had some adjustments. Is what I'm saying. Where else is a good place? Where have we got logging? Okay, and what about iron? We got iron capacity in... We've got very small amounts of iron capacity in a lot of different states here. I think León is going to be our best place to build up construction. So let's go ahead and build there as well. Now, I was putting in some consumption taxes. Let's see what we can get. Services, obviously, that's a no-brainer. Sugar. Luxury furniture. Wine. Coffee. Alright, that's all I can afford. Let's take a quick look at our laws to get started. We have an oligarchy with 2 amendments. So this is a new feature of the current of the Iberian Twilight world. This new feature is called amendments. So these are things that get passed that help get a law passed. So we're currently an oligarchy. Hold on. All right, here we go. The Chamber of Procurators, parent law land voting. I'm curious. So this is from land vote. Are we actually land voting? Or no, we're oligarchic. Okay. So, Chamber of Procurators. 2 interest groups, the petite bourgeoisie and the landowners support this. The Catholic Church, industrialists, and intelligentsia are indifferent. And the armed forces, rural folk, and trade unions are against. Elections to the lower house of the Cortes Generales are carried out through a 2-stage indirect process. An electorate of large taxpayers and members of town councils, like 950 delegates, who then appoint representatives to a chamber of procurators. Modifiers: plus 40 legitimacy based on votes, minus 40% electoral confidence impact, plus 50 political strength from the votes of aristocrats, then plus 25 political strength from the votes of clergymen, officers, bureaucrats, and shopkeepers. Okay, so interesting. So we've got a very highly biased in favor of our upper strata voting system aligned with our oligarchy. The second modifier is electoral clientelism. Election outcomes are controlled by a network of powerful political bosses in a symbiotic relationship with the governing political parties. Through a mix of material incentives and coercion, these bosses may mobilize their communities to guarantee a given party's victory. Oh, excellent! It's oops all rotten boroughs. Wonderful. I love it. Oh, we're so Robert Borked as of the start of this game, my nerds. It's not gonna be great. It's not gonna be great. All right, so the landowners like this. Church Industrialists and rural folk are indifferent, and trade unionists, intelligentsia, petite bourgeoisie, and military are against. This is minus 25% electoral confidence impact and plus 10% authority. So, I hear you asking, what is electoral confidence impact? Here is what it does. An increase or decrease to the impact that low electoral confidence will have on a country, such as decreasing its legitimacy. Electoral confidence is a measure in how much the electorate of a country trusts that any elections held will be free and fair. Tampering with elections by rigging them in favor of a specific party will lower electoral confidence, while allowing elections to proceed without interference will increase it. A low electoral confidence will impact legitimacy and the amount of political strength gained from votes, and the degree of effect varying based on your enacted laws and amendments. So, let's take a look at our legitimacy here. We're at 72. We're at minus 11 due to lack of electoral confidence, and minus 10 from regency period. Other than that, the parties seem pretty well put together. I could put the progressives into the government if I wished. I don't necessarily wish to right now. It will not hurt to have them, but we'll see. We're currently led by the regent, Maria Christina de Bourbon, and then Queen Isabel de Bourbon is a very small baby and cannot rule. We currently have land-based taxation. I would love to go to per capita, that would help, but if I can hold it land-based for long enough, I can go to something better with the help of my petite bourgeoisie and armed forces, and that's going to make things a lot easier. I currently don't have colonial affairs. I definitely want to have colonial affairs. So that's an interesting proposition. I have a professional army. I'm at national supremacy, that's okay. I'm at mercantilism. The children would like free trade. That's a good place to start. Put your change in revenue, but that's not really a significant amount. Then again, do I want to be completely subordinated with my trade policy to the needs of the market? I don't think so. So maybe staying at mercantilism will be good for now. Also have local police forces. A lot of people would prefer a dedicated police force. Nobody will stand against this change. I don't like this. I don't like this. There used to be a breakdown. Is this really... They won't... Oh, they're different. No, they still like local police force over dedicated. I don't like... This is an interface change that I do not approve of. It should tell me how many are against it. Yeah, because the landowners are they're not going to be neutral when this change happens. Okay, so speaking of which, let's take a look at our interest groups to see how we're different in the new patch. So the big one is our landowners are moderantist. This group has adopted a moderate liberal outlook, favoring cooperation between the monarchy and an elected chamber dominated by the landowning oligarchy. For governance principles, they like monarchy. For distro power, they like landed voting and oligarchy. For bureaucracy, they like appointed bureaucrats. For policing, they like local police force. For trade policy, they like free trade. For church and state, they like state religion. So this is interesting. So if I want, I can head immediately to landed voting. Why is this grayed out? Can't head to distro power. Oh, 0% success chance. Okay, so there's no one who would prefer this. Who would be against? Who would be against? Industrialists. Ah, because the industrialists don't like that. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, let me see. Policing, they're the same as the normal landowners are. They like local police force. Yeah, they like free trade. Okay. So that's what moderantist is, but they're okay with, and they're okay with wealth voting, which is interesting, and they like oligarchy. So that's not too different. Let's take a look and see if their powers are the same. Noble privileges, all right. Family ties, all right. Noblesse oblige, all right. So they're the same. Now, these fellas used to be. So their love of state religion is down here. So Spain used to have used to have the pious ideology. They don't anymore. The landowners did. They're led by historical figure Francisco Javier de Isturiz. I don't know that much about Spanish history, so I don't know if that's a cool guy or not, but I suppose whether or not that fella is a cool guy will depend on our run here. Let me see. Catholic Church, moralist, pious, patriarchal, that's the same as the normal ones. Their abilities, pious fiction, divine right, and be fruitful and multiply. Okay, all those are the same. Armed forces. Okay, so they still have jingoist, loyalist, and patriotic, but they have liberal praetorian. This group, so this is our armed forces, believes that the armed forces has a right and a duty to intervene in politics in order to promote and defend select liberal values. Stance on governance principles, they like monarchy. They're against council republics and theocracies. Stance on distro power, they are against anarchy. They're against universal suffrage, landed voting, technocracy, oligarchy, and autocracy. They like census suffrage. They're neutral on wealth voting and single-party state. And then citizenship, they like national supremacy. They're neutral on racial segregation, ethno-state, and cultural exclusion, and they're for national supremacy. Interesting. I'm not seeing anything special over in the opposition interest groups. Let's just take a quick look at the powers. Material wastes for the negative, veteran consultation, and patriotic fervor for the positives. All right, that's good. For the petite bourgeoisie, we got xenophobia, middle managers, treasury bonds. All right, those are the same. For the intelligentsia, we have social criticism, avant-garde, and propagandists. Okay, and then industrial, so we have tax evasion, engines of progress, and job creators. All right, so those are all the same. So we're in good stead. So, do we want to change up the structure of the government? I kind of do, just for the sake of learning to use it. So let's go to dedicated police force. I think I can handle this. So much of the country would prefer it. Again, landowners would be at -1. A lot of these others would be higher. I don't currently have the intelligentsia, armed forces, or petite bourgeoisie in the government, or call correctly. Oh no, I have the armed forces, but not the intelligentsia. Why don't I do a big tent? Or big tentin'? And that's going to make this easier. 27% success chance, 18% stall chance. Let's do it. Now we have this button. This is a negotiate button. This will allow us to negotiate with different interest groups. I don't need to do that right now. So I'm going to keep things as they are. Now, we've got some special journal entries to get started here. There's the Carlist War. I guess this is the only one so far. So, the war is in the guerrilla phase. Christina score 0, Carlist score 0, and we've got a button here that says flush them out. While this is running, we get reduced prestige, reduced general advancement speed, and reduced total combat width. During the guerrilla war, victories will not grant occupation score, and instead both sides will accrue a score for each victorious battle, receiving a positive modifier upon the start of the royal expedition, the strength of which depends on the score achieved during the guerrilla war, respectively, after which the guerrilla war will transform into a regular war. The death of King Ferdinand VII in 1833 has left Spain embroiled in a succession crisis. The Pragmatic Sanction of 1830 paved the way to the throne for his daughter Isabella in the Spanish kingdom, in which succession had traditionally been handled through Salic law. This act angered conservative elements of the aristocracy, who held up the king's brother Carlos as the rightful heir instead. Quickly this materialized into several disparate rebellions under the label of Carlismo, that found its predominant power base in the north of the country, particularly amongst the Basque estates of the Kingdom of Navarra, that's up here, that have been fighting against further centralization of the state and the subsumption of their customs for decades. Under the leadership of Tomás de Zumalacárregui, under the leadership of Tomás de Zumalacárregui, these rebels were shaped into a formidable fighting force that could threaten the capital if allowed to unify with their allies in the Maestrazgo and Catalonia. Involved countries: Spain, Carlist Spain. Will complete if has won the Carlist War. If involved, all countries get the throne secured. Stronger intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie for 20 years, decaying. Petite bourgeoisie and intelligentsia happier. Legitimacy from including head of state and government plus 25. It triggers the event the emergence of Vergara. The wars in the guerrilla phase, the flush them out option. The momentum of the rebels has been broken and the time has come to go on the offensive. If you're Spain, at least one of the following. It has to be after 1839, or we need to have a minimum score of at least 10. Effect, the Carlist War loses the guerrilla warfare modifier. Triggers the event the Royal Expedition, which gives Carlist Spain 10% more offense, 2% more defense, minus 1% morale loss, plus 5% morale damage, plus 2% training rate. Gives me 5% offense, 5% defense, minus 2% morale loss, plus 2% morale damage, plus 2% training rate. And loses National Guard preoccupied, minus 4% conscription rate. That's really, really interesting. So, let's grab our armies. I'm going to put these units on defense. Because we've got an even frame here. You're a fleet. You're a fleet with no leader. Curious. Let's put an armed forces fella in command over here. I think we can safely blockade the enemy's trade here. Let's just go ahead and set them to blockade. Ooh, I gotta be careful about my bureaucracy, though. Alright, I've set all my armies to defense. Got some hussars. I could definitely upgrade them. I got line infantry, I got mobile artillery. Alright, well that's going to have to do, friends, because we're in a tough state. Let's see how we are doing technologically. Production, we got all the tier 1s. We got the Atmo pump engine. That's very good. That's good to start with. We don't have the lathe. We don't have a lot of the beginning of the tier 2. So that's going to be tough. Military, we've got... we don't yet have paddle steamer, but we've got the rest of the tier 1s. So on the naval side, we're pretty hard up. On the land side, we do have Napoleonic warfare, so we're not completely Robert Borked. We don't have general staff yet, but we're one away, so we could snag that. And then over here in society, we've got most of the tier 1s under the urbanization side, except for banking. On the rationalism side, we've got all of the tier 1s, none of the tier 2s. Alright, so that's going to be interesting. So, let's get started by researching general staff. I'm always going to start here. This is a survival technology. I need to be able to win modern wars. We've got some shortages of military goods. We've got a very high, very significant shortage of small arms. And that's not really going to be fixed all that soon. We've got a shortage of coal. So let's remove the tariff. Someone will be willing to sell us that, at least. And then for tools aren't an industrial good? No, they are. I'm just silly. Yeah, we're bringing in all the tools that we've got in our country. Whew! Alright, so we're in a pretty tough spot. We can select more. Declared interests. So where are we interested? Where would we like to be? Where would we like to colonize? I think one of the things that we're going to get up to is we're going to be looking at seizing back some of our older colonial possessions. So I think those are going to be places we're going to be declaring interests. We currently have a Spanish-French fellowship. That's nice. Do we need to do a little bit of conscription? Let's take a look. Yeah, let's bring in... never mind then. Alright, so we are a little bit short on... So how long is this going to take? These are going to take 5 weeks. That's probably fine. The Carlist War. Sidelined by the court in favor of Queen Isabel and ordered into exile by his late brother King Ferdinand, Don Carlos has defied his brother's testament and set out to claim the throne. The Carlist cause is joined by traditionalists and those resentful of the government's centralizing tendencies. Javier Larrañaga sat with his face to the sun. On each of his flanks, a line of tents along the ridge line. Scattered around them were his brothers in arms, building fires, swabbing muskets, drying themselves after a dip in the mountain stream. The report of gunfire echoed in the distance. New volunteers, still wet behind the ears, handling a weapon for the first time in their lives. A whistle sounded. He levered himself to his feet with his carbine's butt and looked to the south. There beyond the Ebro was his king's prize. 30,000 of his countrymen stood in arms to claim it. Let God's mercy carry them to victory, for the Queen Pretender would spare none. Spain's future will be decided on these hills. Activates. The Carlist War will start off as a guerrilla war. Right away, boss. With the beginning of the election season, the patronage networks that riddle rural Spain have roused themselves to readiness. I believe this word is pronounced chaquiques, awaiting the marching orders of the provincial governors. The atmosphere in the casino hung heavy with smoke. In a corner booth, a man in a Panama hat waved a Cuban cigar in the air, a faux melancholic expression on his face. We, the Liberals, were convinced that we would win the election. However, God's will has been otherwise. He placed the cigar into his mouth and let out a puff of smoke. A smile played around his lips. It seems that it is we, the Conservatives, who have won the elections. That's interesting. So here's where we're at. The moderate party has a lot more momentum than the progressives. That's going to be interesting. So, our options are lend the Progressive Party our support, adds 150% momentum to the Progressive Party, I don't know if that, it says 50% momentum will be subtracted from the moderate party. I think that means that's going to put them to minus 12%, not 19%. Reduces progress towards removing electoral clientelism from oligarchy. Spanish electoral confidence is decreased by 15%. Spain will not receive further election events during this season. Oh, no election events. Interesting. The moderate party could use a term in government, does the same thing but for the moderates. And then let the chips fall where they may. Options available because we've not made sufficient progress towards establishing a tradition of free elections. Adds progress towards removing electoral clientelism. Okay, so the more we don't rig elections, the sooner we'll be able to get rid of electoral clientelism. And just for a reminder, electoral clientelism is extra authority but reduced electoral confidence impact. That doesn't seem that bad. But tradition of free elections is better. I think tradition of free elections is quite strong, actually. I'm trying to... Where is electoral confidence? Does that live in this screen somewhere? Yes, here we go. Here we go. So the effects of our current electoral confidence is 34%. The effects of that are minus 11% political strength per vote, minus 11 legitimacy, extra political strength from wealth by 11%. So, I think ultimately, if we're going to do a stronger, more liberal Spain, we're going to need to get rid of that. So let's let the chips fall where they may this time, and see how the election goes. I think we'll put the second government sector at the bottom of the queue, and we'll focus on construction for now. So, the Prussians have a treaty. They would like to invest in us and to receive trade privileges, and would like the same. Let's negotiate, Prussia. Prussia, I need money for my war. What about it? Or no, not a power block embassy. Do I have a power block? I must, because I have the option of... Spain has a Prussian power block embassy. Okay, they don't want that. Can I get some cash? Can I get some guns? I would love some guns. I know you've got them. Some guns would make me feel really, really good. Well, I'm at a significant shortage. Oh, now that's curious. It only says -14, but now we're much lower. That's weird. Why would that be different? And that's +38. What changes as a result of that? I can't tell. From diplomatic stance, is that the modifier? Yes. It's because they don't want... It's because the diplomatic stance gets gotten rid of. Because they're cautious towards us. Let's just do trade privileges for now. Let's see if they say yes to that. Also, I should declare some rivals and start improving relations with other people. So who do I want to be rivals with? Who are good rivals for me? The two Sicilies are a good rival. Denmark. And the United States! No. I'm not going to be ridiculous. And Sweden. Sweden's a good rival target. Alright, that's plenty of rivaling. Let's go ahead and improve relations with France, British, the Prussians, the Austrians, and I don't have enough to do with the Russians as well, so that'll be fine. Keep going. So, they declined, that's fine. Is the enemy going to attack? Portugal would like an agreement. They would like me to transfer silk to them. Mutual military access. No thank you. But I'll tell you what. If you want silk, perhaps we can be of assistance to each other. Silk for investment rights? Heck yes. Wonderful. Alright, our cash flow is doing a lot better now. Oh, actually, we don't... Our bureaucracy has adjusted itself. Ah, because our Pobo are happy. Is that it? Yeah, there we go. We don't need this government admin. Let's build up some construction. Commander commends Civic Coalition. General Narvaez has made public statements in support of the moderate party, bringing into question the political neutrality of the military. It is my duty to defend the nation and its interests. Politics is as much a part of war as battles and logistics are. I don't see the problem with doing my duty and doing what I can to make sure those who are best fit to protect the nation end up being the ones in charge. Ramon Maria Narvaez can say what he wants, extra momentum for the moderates, or reprimand him. Good soldiers don't give orders, they take them. Officer props become more radical. I'm going to do the first one. I think that's fine. That's going to lend stronger momentum to the moderate party. Interesting. The Bride of Christ. The staunchly conservative Archbishop of Toledo, Pedro Iguanzo Rivero, has passed away. The regent now has the opportunity to appoint a successor more amenable to the Isabelline cause. I would like to say good riddance to Federico. I truly wish that I could believe this will be a boon to the Queen. Regrettably, there are all too many questions remaining. Is that so? Vicente raised an eyebrow. All around the boat, the Manzanares peacefully trickled on. Federico swung his fishing rod outwards. The hook sailed in a great arc before plunging into the water. The Pope won't have it, for one. Rome is friendly to the pretenders. Secondly, the deficits of the Church cannot be attributed to one man. A loyal replacement may spur further insurrection. God help us. constitutionalist archbishop will serve us well. Pedro González Vallejo, the reformer president of the Senate, will be promoted to leader of the Catholic Church. 20% of clergymen pops will become more radical. Papal states get to the event the liberal primacy. Okay, reformer. Cultural exclusion, property, women, right to associate is good. Children's rights, compulsory primary school. I don't necessarily need that right now. Or appoint a more conciliatory candidate. 2% of clergymen become more radical instead of 20%. Judas Jose Romo Igamboa, the moderate bishop of the Canary Isles, we promoted. So he's a moderate. All right, so that's baseline Catholic Church. You know what? Let's and then the papal states. So the papal states gets the liberal primacy either way. So let's go with the constitutionalist. I might regret this. I might not. We'll find out. Diplomatic ties with many different countries. Okay, the Prussians declined their thing again. The rebels are pushing forward to attack us now? No. Interesting. You have diplomatic ties with many different governments, but I don't need to necessarily see that. Alright, armed forces are pretty happy, but not happy enough to be patriotically fervent. Let's see how dedicated police force goes. It's going real slow. So there's the election. Wow, it's right down the middle. Neat. What does that put our legitimacy at? Unstable. Alright, so... Oh, interesting. So the Catholic Church have fallen out of the government. But that actually gives me some options. If I run the Catholic Church together with the armed forces and landowners, that gives me a pretty solid government. On the other hand, yeah, no, there's no way to do it the other way. So yeah, let's get ourselves a legitimate government here. All right, sorry, Progressive Party. Actually, let's just pull in the Catholic Church for now. I can stay at contested. I want to keep the petite bourgeoisie in here while I'm trying to enact a dedicated police force. So how long is this going to take now? 93 days. All right. So, but it's progressing. It's progressing. Oh, this is just this battle progress is literally slower because of the guerrilla warfare modifier. All right. I understand that. So, I definitely got how that was working, and I'm definitely not a fool. Alright, so that's an increase in our construction sectors. That's chill. I've now got government admin being built. Are we still at a shortage of taxation capacity? We are. So I am going to fill that up. It's going to give us 2 Sicilies declared rivalry. United States declared rivalry. Well, gosh, Shaggy, that's not what I wanted. But I suppose they know that I'm going to be coming back to the Americas, so it is what it is. The rebels are coming for me. Hopefully I can win a battle against them and fight a nice defensive battle, get some progress from the Carlist War, and generally improve things. Iron shortage. Well, we certainly got a lot of shortages. Let's take a quick look at our economy. So what do I have? I have a coal shortage. Where am I spending all this coal? Logging camps, lead mines, coal mines, gold mines. Oh, well, that'll do it. Alright, so where have I got a lot of resource industry? This is tough. I got gold mines in Murcia. Okay, Valencia is where I've got a lot of industry. So, let's get 2 levels of gold mines built, or of coal mines built. 2 levels of tooling workshops built, 2 levels of iron mines built. Now, how much iron am I producing? I'm importing all my iron. Oh, this is monstrous. I'm doing really badly industrially. So this is actually really desperate. the industrial situation is extremely down bad. The art of doing nothing. Though previously opposing the dedicated police force laws, Victor Saez has considered the armed forces' political position and instead offers support. While speaking with constituents on matters of law, one must first master the art of appearing to do nothing. While you do everything behind whispers and masked men, indubitably. Welcome their support, stronger Catholic Church and armed forces, extra enactment success chance, or keep a sharp eye, they're up to something. Half as much enactment success chance, but Saez gets a reduction in popularity. So he's a Carlist in the Catholic Church. I'm going to welcome their support. Yes, the economic situation is rather dire. Perhaps I don't need these government administrations that badly, but I think they are. I think they are necessary. I think they are necessary. I am going to build them up. So we do have some battles happening. I am losing this defensive battle, and I am losing, and I'm winning this one. All right, so this is okay. So we'll see how the outcome of these battles affects the Carlist War in a moment as these finish getting fought. Our force comparison is getting worse. Alright, both of us have 1 score, so that's fine. Both sides have war support protection. That shouldn't shock anyone. And that's going to stay that way because there's no changes to does last stand extra casualties taken. Okay, definitely don't want that. So what I actually need to do long term is increase the size of my military. I also need to be able to get over to iron frame construction ASAP. So you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But we're closing in on we got a good amount of support for dedicated police force, so I can stay where I am with that for the medium term. Let's see. Do I build more construction sectors? I think maybe. Cash flow is a little bit tight though. I need to be conscientious because I'm actually already significantly in debt. Institutions are alright. I can increase the Catholic Church's political strength. Increase education. That'll be good long term. Let me see. Investments, bureaucracy costs 1. How much of an extra amount over my total am I at? It's 17%. So if I lose my middle manager's bonus, I'm not totally borked. Discord within the intelligentsia. An influential faction within the intelligentsia has grown frustrated with their co-members' neutrality on the topic of dedicated police force. Themselves in favor of the law, they've now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I am not alone in this. With their support, the bill shall pass, slightly weaker intelligentsia, increased enactment success chance, or the armed forces extend an open hand to these mavericks. Make the armed forces stronger, make the intelligentsia much weaker, but not as much enactment success chance. I'm just going to go with the first one. I think dedicated police force is really important long term. So, I am going to need to increase the size of my military because I can't do more conscription. So let's see. Lancers, the problem is they cost iron where hussars do not. Yeah, oh man, hussars are really bad. So, let's go ahead and put in a few more. This is the Guardia Real, right? No, this is the Ejército Central. This is the Guardia Real. Let's get a couple more. And then we'll do some artillery. I am going to need artillery to fight modern wars. So, France wants to build inside me, trade privileges, and to march armies through me in exchange for me marching armies through. France What are you talking about? You want all of this stuff for nothing? We're not going to take on my debt, that's for dang sure. Give me a state? How about Corsica? It's funny to me that they're thinking about it. Transfer a subject? No. Obviously not Aki 10. Hold on, let me see if I can get Corsica diplomatically. How about just a little bit of cash? No, that's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. This is weird. Will you give me money in exchange for all this? Absolutely not. No, France. I'll never do it. I'll never compromise the integrity of Spain. I am losing battles here. Well, I'm winning a much larger battle, but I'm losing a... No, these are both moderate-sized battles at this point. Alright, so I actually do need to get moving with improving the size of my army. The fact that I am fighting on defense and in all these battles is slowly improving our force comparison, though. So I'm hoping that long term, that's still the right strategy. With the passage of time, the sun has moved, and one of my arms is being just roasted. I'm gonna take a second here. I'll be back in a minute. I don't know why I always do this whenever I'm recording in the afternoon. I'm like, the sun won't move. And it's like, it's gonna move. It was never not gonna. That's how time works. Whew, 2 new events. An exile at the gates. The relatively lenient Spanish immigration system has long been attractive to those fleeing their home nations. Recently, Juan Laval has petitioned to join the stream of people moving to Spain. It was one name on a very, very long list, one that had passed through multiple layers of bureaucracy before being noticed. One fateful day, however, one clerk at the end of his shift pointed at that name and spoke those fatal words. I could swear I've heard of him before. Eventually, Juan Lavalle, too, will be Spanish, or we will not have someone like this regardless of precedent. So you're an authoritarian aligned with the landowners. It's going to piss off the industrialists if I say no. I'll let him come. He's Spanish. He's Spanish, we are Spain. He's welcome. The intelligentsia find it difficult to find the cheap paper they need to immortalize their thoughts. The only upside of this wretched state of affairs, the professor said with an exasperated sigh, is that when someone says that an idea is not worth the paper is printed on, at least they mean it. We will secure the pages of tomorrow's classics, add to the setup paper import to the Journal of Spain, or learn brevity. Intelligentsia gets mad. This event shouldn't still be in here. I'm sorry. This event just shouldn't be in the game anymore. I'm gonna do the first one, but like, jeepers. We don't have... I need to Savine paper, or are you cold cereal here? Alright. Let's do it. Give me your paper. Alright, we're still on defense. We're building our coal mines, we're building our iron mines. I think after that we'll be able to kind of relax and focus on the war. Do I have any tooling industry whatsoever? I don't. Alright, so Valencia, you are actually going to have a tooling industry. But you need an iron industry first. We're going to put those there. We're going to put 2 construction sectors in the state. Those are going to go between the coal mines and the iron mines. Lobbyist lectures in Madrid. A man employed by a powerful member of the Spanish-French Fellowship is delivering lectures and pamphlets addressed to targeted constituencies in Madrid. One lawmaker writes to a fellow politician, "Each day he finds me, I know not how, and am quite disturbed. What are his aims? That hired emissary of the French-Spanish Fellowship haunts the doors of the Spanish Assembly much like the ghost of the murdered bankroll. Make it clear they're responsible for the emissaries they're hire. Intelligentsia becomes weaker. Spain becomes more legitimate. Or any concerns about the emissaries' behavior are unfounded." I don't necessarily need stronger intelligentsia. We'll just take the legitimacy. Legitimacy is very good to have early on in the game. I should... Okay, so my Spanish-French Fellowship is only the intelligentsia. So that doesn't really get me a lot if I work with them. We're at 2 and 2 for war progress, so I'm feeling okay where we currently are. We are still all in defense mode, right? Yes. Ooh, law progressed to consideration. Wonderful. Cash flow is pretty tough. And I'm going to make it even worse by building more construction sectors, but I've got to. It's necessary. We've got to keep the economy growing. And there is the iron shortage. So I really need these iron mines up desperately, but I need coal mines in order to run them. I'm actually not short of coal at the moment, so maybe we'll do the iron mines first. Let's finish out this one construction sector. Then we'll do the other construction sector, then we'll do the other iron mines, then we'll finish out the coal mines. Yes, I know. We're trying to handle everything through import and export, and it's not good. The private sector is just building trade centers, but they're building them in Macau. Why would you do this? Let's see. Yeah, investment pool is not great. It could be doing better. Diplomatic ties with Bolivia lost. Sad. I used to really like that guy. I should improve relations with Portugal. Let's improve relations with Portugal. Perhaps one day they too shall be Spain. We'll see. We'll see. It never hurts to have more iron. We're not technically in an iron shortage right now, but the more of a buffer we can have with all these resources, the better. That's my current state of affairs. I think maybe, and we're not sharing the construction queue anymore, so that construction sector is being built faster. Alright, that ain't bad. Maybe we'll finish building the coal mines after the iron mines. South Wales, colonized South Island, okay. Again, I'm still in a really bad spot financially. I should definitely... There will be a time when I can pause the construction sector, but when I can pause government construction, but today is not that day. Alright, 3 and 3. 3 battles won, 3 battles lost. So we're doing alright. Unfortunately, the only way to resolve this war is to build a resolution to this war. And to make that happen, we're going to need more construction capacity and more iron and all that other stuff. So, Giuseppe Mazzini exiled from Western Australia. Okay. I'm just gonna get these two done. No. Well, I'm over micromanaging it. I'm over micromanaging it. I don't need it. I don't need any of that. I've got some influence left over. Let's start improving relations with the Russians. Dang, being in a guerrilla war is tough. I think I'm going to, now that I've built up a little bit more iron, let's go ahead and upgrade my hussars. I don't need hussars and dragoons. Gosh, I sure have got... Sorry, I need lancers. I don't know why we upgraded to dragoons. I need lancers. This has improved my force comparison a little bit. Low organization. Why are you at low organization? Because of a shortage of supplies, and that's a shortage of iron. Alright, well, I'm doing my best about that. I gotta do what I gotta do. Netherlands, you need to stop trying to eat small powers in Southeast Asia, or I'm gonna come over there and say hello and be quite cross. I'm gonna raid enemy convoys. Maybe I'll put a new commander in here. Oh, they're all landowners, guys. Well, we'll grab this guy. And there's dedicated police force. And we'll make him a blockade. Between the two of you, we should be able to do what we've got to do. So, that's dedicated police force. Now. Ah, right. I've got a special tenant farmers one. I think latifundias is not as bad as tenant farmers normally would be. But it reduces investment pool contribution efficiency from aristocrats, which sucks. So, now that I've got dedicated police force, what was the other thing I wanted to do? I would love to go to per-capita taxation, because I kind of desperately need the money. Who will be against? Landowners. Gosh dang it. Those stupid landowners. Oh, no, now that I've done this, I can boot the progressives out of the government and have a big old legitimate government. Now what can I do? I can go to colonial affairs. Yes, let's do colonial resettlement. That's gonna... Kicking start colonialism is gonna be good. So in order to achieve that... These battles are not going well for me. I think I may only be able to support one additional tooling workshop. In fact, I may need the barracks now. Nah, I need the tools. I need the tools. There's no other way. I need the tools. I need to go onion and collect the tools. That's the only way I can do this. Pathologic fans in the audience screaming. Can I go to steel frame construction? Or to iron frame construction. That's gonna... No, I don't. I don't have the iron production capacity. This hurts. Well, I have to... Why are we splitting the... Oh, because the private sector is building banana plantations. A monument to the regent. A statue of Regent Maria Christina de Bourbon was commissioned and has been suggested that it be displayed proudly in Valencia. Romantic is how you would describe the look on the face of the statue when it smiles down on you, eyes that flicker in the opposite direction of the sun, though maybe you are just imagining it. A monument worthy of the regent, extra prestige, 2% of pops in Valencia become more radical, or perhaps not everyone wishes to be reminded of the regent. Intelligentsia unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. That is what it is. Can I privatize some businesses? Let's privatize our entire light industry. We'll privatize the shipyards. We'll leave the arms and artillery industries in state hands for now. We'll definitely privatize the farms. Vineyards and the plantations and the mines. You know what? We're going to go on a privatizing spree. I want to keep our gold supply in our own hands for now, but all the other stuff, privatize it. Gold mines weren't okay when they're privatized, right? Well, it can't be worse than the way these ones are currently running. Well, that's just because of the tool shortage, though. Alright, plantations, privatize them, privatize them, privatize them. I didn't even check on this. Who owns this? I do. It's me. Oh, interesting. Exploited rollers. Extra tobacco and extra labor. Interesting. I'm gonna look into that more as the war finishes out. Let's set our fishing wharfs to fishing trawlers. I think they'll be more efficient that way. Ports, we'll set them to cargo ports. I just think that's sensible. We'll privatize trade centers. And, ooh, actually, let's leave the ports where they are for now. Alright, anyway, hopefully some privatization will lead to a more efficient economy overall. Still at 1-1 for the Carlist War. And now I've created for myself a shortage of clippers. Really good job, me. Just outstanding. I'm only short by a little bit. We'll stop taxing imports on clippers. Where's my finances right now? I'm paying quite a bit in subsidies, mostly to ports. I see the issue. Alright, so some of these, we'll change some of these back to anchorages. I don't remember how many of them were anchorages before. But the ones in the Islas Baleares surely can stay anchorages. Islas Canarias, same thing. Spanish Al Reef, same thing. Alright. Hopefully that'll be making things easier. Yep, that's the end of my clipper shortage. Well, at least the clipper shortage is down to something manageable. Alright, we're almost done with our tooling workshops, and then it's barracks all the way down, and then we can win this war. Can't really do anything about the price of paper right now. I mean, I could by building up more paper supplies, but truthfully, we're in other issues. We have bigger problems right now. Golly, things sure are going tough in this war, I must say. Let's improve relations with the United States. They're antagonistic towards us, sadly. Let's see, Prussians, Austrians. Let's improve relations with the Dutch and... and I don't share an interest with the Belgians. So that will have to wait. Wow, what is going on with our market? What is going on with our market? Are we being blockaded by somebody or something? No, I don't have the port capacity. That's what happened? I don't have the port capacity. All right, so I goofed this up. We'll go back to cargo port method for some of these. Cargo port method produces convoys. Well, I've got an excess of convoys. So with me doing this now, all right, and that's dealt with my trade issues. All right, you know, we're learning. Things are different than they've been. And you gotta play smart in order to play well. And playing smart means learning. So now I've learned. I'm gonna refill my water here. I think we've been going for about an hour. Hey, if you're having fun, why don't you hit the subscribe button? Please and thank. I appreciate it. It's going to help the channel grow and stuff. So here, we are sinking enemy convoys, so that is good. And we're now actually building up our barracks situation. So hopefully, this is going to increase our ability to win this war. Now, if I increase military wages, that's actually a really small increase. I'm gonna bring it up. That should activate. Oh, I didn't do it. I beefed it. I didn't do it soon enough. That said, we'll see if when we finish with all this, that makes our force comparison good enough that we can go forward. Or at least that we can start winning battles and wearing the enemy down. Like, I think that's the real thing we need to focus on, because currently the enemy is not being worn down the way I need them to be. as part of my defensive war strategy, so that when we hit this button, I'll be able to actually do what I want to do and get this war finished out. Wow, this number just keeps getting worse. I think I need to reduce the wages of the government. That's so little. What if I increase taxes? I've got a very sturdy amount of legitimacy right now. That is giving me ticking loyalists, and I want to keep that. However, I think I'm going to increase taxation just to keep the government solvent. We are winning our battles now, though. That's very good. That's very important. Because that means we're going to get points up here. For this, we need to have a minimum score of 10. Very good. And these are both defensive battles for us. Yes. Alright, so I don't necessarily want to press this button right away, because I don't know if I can win an offensive battle. Ooh, we lost a politician. Who do we lose? You are the head of the... Unclear. Maybe he was the head of the Catholic Church? I think he was the head of the Catholic Church. Let me see. We got a moderate in the Catholic Church. Alright, so the situation with the church didn't end up being that much of an issue. Maybe I'll improve relations with the Catholic Church as going forward. So, with that having changed, we're actually a more legitimate government than we were before, even with high taxation, which is pretty good. Pretty pleased about that. The Anti-American Association offers an opportunity to acquire trade privileges from Portugal. Now, the Anti-American Association is the armed forces in the Catholic Church, so I do want to do this. Their proposal, if accepted, is intended to counter American interests. Interesting. It was a veiled sort of aggression, one which could, in theory, appeal to both ardent jingoists and those who preferred to mitigate losses. It would force the enemy to respond, possibly drive them towards a reckless confrontation in response to a seemingly benign maneuver. A plan to fight the United States of America to the last Portuguese, one minister remarked. The representative flushed. He'd practiced responses along both lines, but none of them quite fit. We'd be happy to pursue this, adds lobby opportunity to the Journal of Spain, or this is not in our interest. I'm going to pursue this. I think making them happy is good. I'm also realizing I could increase mobilization methods. Let's hit that button for all three armies. I know this is going to make the war more expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it. Portugal, my guy, my guy, my guy. Let's have trade privileges. I don't have the influence. Alright, so, I don't need to improve relations with, the Dutch that bad. They will accept. A good vintage. The wine produced in Lyon has been lauded by sommeliers as outstanding. When people say that something ages like wine, they don't always make the distinction between wine and wine. So let me make that distinction. If you can get your hands on a bottle from Lyon, that bottle can be more than just a good time. It can be an investment. Wine is very cheap in our market, so I don't need to produce more of it. I can make this an exclusive product for export, for extra prestige, or I can increase production to meet booming demands. For extra building throughput, I'm going to make it an export item. The Madrid Citizens Convention. The abolitionist movement is convened in Madrid to rally support and publicly discuss the specifics of slavery banned. The event has attracted much attention from locals. Good to see you again. Did you have a good trip? I did. The roads are dreadful this time of year. I was very nearly late, in fact. My compliments to my driver. Oh, good for him. Worth a raise? I would wish. If my pockets have anything left in them by the time the hat comes around, perhaps. What a lively discussion. increased attraction and activism for the abolition, increased attraction but reduced activism for the abolition movement, or order this interdicted at once. Upper Star and Pops become more radical. Abolitionist movement gets weaker. What a lively discussion. That's interesting. Why would tamping down on abolitionism make my upper classes unhappy? Curious. I wonder if that's because they're very liberal. Perhaps it is. Alright. I'm doing my best, Guardia Real. Alright, force comparison's much better. The enemy is no longer moving forward. Which means I may need to go on the attack. But it's almost 1939, so I can press that button whenever I wish. Oh my goodness, it's already happened. Okay, so this is automatic. Carlist de Bourbon-Anjou has amassed his forces and is calling for one strong, concentrated push towards the capital. The Cristinos, expecting his assault, have made ready. The future of Spain will be decided here and now, at the gates of Madrid. The column stretched as far as Javier could see, snaking between fallen boulders and scraggly bushes. The suffocating cloud of dust kicked up by 10,000 trudging feet had stained all their uniforms gray, washing out the last scraps of blue and white among them. At the rear of the column rode the priests and the ojalateros, with their ravenous appetite and everlasting stock of complaints. Ahead of them lay the liberals, with all the steel and gunpowder they could muster. He had checked his bandolier in the morning and found 5 cartridges remaining. All he could hope was that the liberals had only 4. For Crown and Country. Oh, wow. Okay, these modifiers are much, much larger. Carlist Spain is getting 50% offense, 12% defense, minus 15% morale loss, 25% more morale damage, and 12% training rate. We are getting 35% offense, 35% defense, 17% morale loss, 17% morale damage, 17% training rate for 2 years for Crown and Country. All right, so at the end of 1839, if we're still in the fight, we can really win. But I'm getting stronger and they're getting weaker, so. And I'm short of influence. That's curious. Austria? I don't need relations with you that badly. Up to 20. I've got a much bigger bonus to offense than they've got to defense. I think if I get up to 30, we go on offense and see if we can win this thing. But it's no rush. I'm only barking myself in the butt, financially speaking. Let's put a consumption tax on luxury clothes for the moment. I'm producing my own luxury clothes, right? I didn't completely forget about that, did I? I'm not, but I am producing silk, so let's do it. Oh, no, let's not do it. Let's do it a little bit. Okay, let's do it almost not at all. Okay, alright, so that was a failure. One day, I'll be able to produce my own luxury clothes. Am I subvening the import of luxury clothes or something? No, I'm not. Who am I buying them from? Someone. Let's produce our own luxury. Well, actually, let's look at our clothes market. Okay, clothes are expensive, so let's focus on regular clothes for the moment, and then we'll deal with luxury clothes after. We're almost up to 30 in our force comparison. We're finishing out these barracks, and then we're building tooling workshops. So I think when we hit 30, that's go time. Although if we wait till 1840, they won't have bonuses and we will have bonuses. Oh, and I can increase conscription now. Hold on. That was artillery. Alright, time to raise the conscripts. And at the middle of the year, we'll hit the go button. You can tell I'm nervous about this. You can tell I'm nervous about this. Do these states have modifiers? Ooh, banking. Wonderful. That's very good. Oh boy. That's tough. That's tough, fam. Alright. It's June. Time to get going. Alright, now we are going forward. Let's see how this goes. There's General Staff. Wonderful. So from here, we are going to be a colonizing society. So let's get up to quinine. Didn't I start? I didn't hit the enact button. I'm used to just hitting this button. Alright, anyway, sorry about that, friends. Oh, I'm so good at video games. Alright, we got battles kicking off all over. We're winning over here. We're winning over here. We're winning over here. Alright, beautiful. So hopefully, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so our force comparison is improving significantly. Whew! Alright. Here's hoping this clinches this war, and then we can get back to managing the country. Or we can get to managing the country, because we haven't really been doing much of that yet at all. Whew. This is going to be very good. Alright. Yes, here we go. Successful battles in the northern and eastern areas. And then there should be more interesting journal entries opening up as soon as the Carlist War is finished. And hopefully we'll be able to hammer our way through our massive national debt. So what do we need to build next? I think the key... Ooh. Let's get lathes going. Let's get lathes and dye workshops going. Let's get and let's produce some more luxury clothes. Actually, let's produce all luxury clothes. And let's get an import tax on luxury clothes. An anti-Austrian society. This was a result of Austria overtaking Spain in the top prestige. Wow, we're really up there in prestige all of a sudden. Oh, it's because we increased army whatevers. All right, that's the Annex Carlist Spain event. So we now have all of País Vasco, all of Aragon, and all of Catalonia in our hands. We have an election once again running up. Let's give it a week for that to start, and then we'll hit the right-away boss event. Dude, where's my election? Alright, hold on. The embrace of Vergara. With the royal expedition defeated and the Carlist armies scattered, General Baldomero Espartero has signed a peace with the remnants of the Carlist forces at the Basque town of Vergara. At long last, a tenuous calm has been restored to Spain. As the officers rode out to parley, the armies faced one another across the field. The Liberals had placed their most intact regiments in front, Javier noticed. The front ranks all had their tall shakos, their blue and green uniforms, the yellow braiding of provincial regiments. And his own commander had of course done the same. He stood shoulder to shoulder with his fellow Eriquetes, staring down at his opposite numbers from 50 meters away. Then he saw him, atop a magnificent black horse, clad in more gold than could be found in his entire regiment's garb. General Espartero. Could he aim? Get a shot off? Set the field alight? Abort this farcical peace? No, he thought. He could do no more. All that was left was to go home. Without a moment's pause, Spain gets the throne secured, 25% stronger intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie, 3% plus 3 approval for intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie, plus 25 legitimacy from including the head of state and government. We will soon be faced with the reality of the two Spains. All right, let's let one more week go by here, and then we'll get our election predictions. Here we go. Alright, so the Progressive Party has a lot more momentum this time. Likely to get a bunch more votes. That'll be interesting. Right away, boss. With the beginning of the election season, the patronage networks, the brutal rule of Spain, blah, 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 blah. We have the same options that we had before. I'm going to let the chips fall where they may once again. Here we go. The Spanish Main. With order restored at home, Spain must decide her stance toward her former rebellious colonies in the Americas, whose independence remains unrecognized by Madrid. Gentlemen, it is imperative that we follow in the footsteps of England. When she realized the 13 colonies were lost for good, she forged a strong commercial and cultural bond with them. To this day, it remains one of her greatest sources of strength. Why should we throw away such an opportunity for the sake of misbegotten glory or revenge, especially considering our present condition is what it is? The old empire is gone. It's time to face the reality of our situation. Add Hispano-America to the Journal of Spain. This will set us on the path of normalization with our former colonies. Spain gets new world diplomatic initiatives, minus 10% infamy generation. Or, cowards, send for the war minister. Treason shall not be rewarded. Add Reconquista to the Journal of Spain. This will set us on a difficult path of conquest, targeting our former colonies. Spanish infamy will be increased by 5. Spanish relations with Great Britain, United States of America, and all former Spanish colonies deteriorates by 30. Great Britain and the United States will be likely to intervene against us in diplomatic plays targeting our former colonies unless we enjoy very good relations with them. We will disgrace ourselves in the eyes of the international community, and all South American countries will lose the independence not recognized by Spain modifier. I think this is the one that the game intends us to do, so let's do that. Hispano-Americas. We'll take a look at that in a second. The party favorites. The wing of the Progressive Party affiliated with the petite bourgeoisie has raised complaints about Joseph Bonaparte y Goriol's choice of endorsements, leaving their supporters neglected. I must levy a concern, now that it has come to my attention. Whilst Joseph Bonaparte y Goriol's actions are undoubtedly well-intentioned, the recommendations contained thereof seem to exclude certain members of the party who have demonstrated more than sufficient vigor, goodwill, and surety of purpose. Listen to their concerns and appease the petite bourgeoisie. Bonaparte y Goriol gets plus 50 popularity and 20% extra momentum to the progressives. Or appeasement, don't they know it was fully intentional? Stronger industrialists, weaker petite bourgeoisie. Let's go with the first one. We'll get more momentum that way. Here we go. The two Spains. Since the War of Independence, Spain has been subject to a vicious whipsaw of reform and reaction. As liberal Spain takes the throne, conservative Spain musters to strike it down anew. In a cottage on the outskirts of Barcelona, a woman with blistered hands wraps a woolen thread about the pegs of a loom. The factory required 5 meters by the end of the week, and as demanded, she would receive. In Andalusia, a man swings his hoe into the unforgiving soil. A line of 100 stands on each side of him. None of them would ever know anything more. Outside a tent in Toledo, an officer walks along a line of conscripts. His head is full of gun smoke, and theirs contain nothing at all. No thoughts, head empty. They would need to learn, he knew, how to forage, how to make 1 cartridge do the work of 10. If the moral truly outweighed the material, it would be proven here. Crowns or Cortes, which future will come to be? The two Spains. So, let's take a look at this journal entry. Okay. All right. So first a quote. Here lies half of Spain. It died of the other half. Mariano José de Lara. Since the War of Independence, Spain has been trapped in an oft-violent struggle between, quote, the two Spains, unquote. The first, loyal to church and crown. The second, to enlightenment and constitution. The irreconcilable hostility of the two sides, born of an underdeveloped liberal project, has entrenched a political order that relies upon the army more than the ballot. If Spain is to find peace, it must choose which vision to define it. We'll conclude in a liberal victory if the liberal progress bar has reached 90% and the Catholic Church and landowner clout is both less than 5%. If concluded in a liberal victory, we'll trigger an event the most exalted. Possible event effects. All interest groups have a higher chance to choose liberal and radical leaders. Choose one of the following. Bring gets libertad, igualdad, fraternidad, 10% of lower and middle stratum pops become more loyalist. That seems really strong. Or all the following. Armed Forces gets Republican spirit. Extra interest group approval and stronger. Okay, so no. Liberdad, igualdad, fraternidad is extra political strength from vote and extra movement attraction for the labor, liberal, and radical movements. And the other option is Republican spirit, stronger armed forces. Commanders will be more likely to have liberal and radical ideologies. Armed forces will lose the patriotic ideology and gain the Republican ideology. Okay, so that's the liberal bonus. We'll conclude in a conservative victory if conservative progress bars reach 90%. Trade unions clout and intelligentsia clout are both less than 5%. If concluded in a conservative victory, triggers the event the Spirit of Don Carlos. Possible events. All interest groups will have a higher chance to choose conservative and reactionary leaders. Choose one of the following. All of the following. Spain gets God, Fatherland, Fuero, King. Extra authority and legitimacy. 20% of aristocrats, clergymen, and peasants become more loyalist. Or all the following. Spain gets the world made right again. Extra authority, conversion, and acceptance from state religion. Catholic Church gets shepherds of revelation. Extra interest group spirit, pop attraction. Interesting. So, the progress bar will drift towards 51 for the liberals, 49 for the... I think that's the liberals and that's the conservatives. Over time. Tension bar will drift towards 30% over time. So, okay, so we can modify these numbers. Having high tension will cause increased movement activism and an elevated chance of a coup. So our baseline effects are extra political movement activism, minus 25% coup resistance. And the coup event has been reworked in this game, in the new patch. So we'll see more of that. It's more than likely. So, let's take a look at what the liberals get. Clout from the clout of the intelligentsia, from the clout of interest groups of the liberal or progressive leaders, 31 from the fraction of total military units commanded by liberal or progressive commanders, same for the Navy, and from support of political movements. Over here we get landowner clout, Catholic Church clout, interest groups with conservative or reactionary leaders, military units, and conservative political movements. Alright, so we're about even right now. Let's also take a look at Hispano-America. Did I queue in any more? Actually, no. Let me queue in more iron mines. I need more iron. Oh no, I'm out of freaking... Oh no! Oh no! I goobered myself! Oh, I goobered myself bad! Alright, well we need a port here because we need infrastructure. Oh man, those do not produce much infrastructure. Alright, so I need to be more conscientious about that because I need to be producing tools in places that can export it. Huh. That's really bad. Okay, you're in Catalonia. How much infrastructure capacity do we have here? Not much. Hold on. Hold on. I need modern sewerage is what the heck I need. Sorry, Quinine, you're gonna have to wait. One day. But I need modern sewerage for the frickin'... Oh, man. And then let's queue up to railways. We may modify those things. But before we do that, let's look at Hispano-America. We will not waste more men and resources in a futile attempt to restore what once was. Instead, cordiality and mutual benefit will define the Spanish relationship with her former colonies. We shall instruct our diplomats to draw up treaties of commerce and friendship with our former subjects, sending a powerful message to the world of our magnanimity. Formal recognition. While Spain's former colonies in the Americas achieved de facto independence during the Spanish-American Wars of Independence in the early 19th century, no de jure recognition of this status followed. Until Spain formally recognized the independence of her former colonies using the Recognized Independence Treaty Article, bilateral diplomatic relations will remain severely hindered. Alright, there's a bunch of things here. Will complete if exactly 100% of eligible countries in America, currently 33.33%, does not have independence not recognized by Spain. Remaining countries, here we go. This is a good advancement. I'd like this. Remaining countries, we got a list. Bolivia, Uruguay, El Salvador, Ecuador, North Peru, Argentine Confederation, Venezuela, Paraguay, New Granada, Mexico, Chile, and South Peru. If completed, triggers the event of masters and servants. Spain gets a most social relationship for 10 years, extra Influence and leverage generation. Spanish relations with all Spanish former colonies improves by 30. If we're leader of a power bloc, we gain 100 leverage on all former Spanish colonies. I'm definitely going to do that. Alright. And it doesn't seem like we can fail this, so that's good. A torrent of gin and beer. The moderate party's anti-alcohol policy is hurting their electoral prospects as scores of thirsty voters flock to the Progressive Party, hoping that a change in government will see an end to the country's temperance policies. Resist temptation? I'll tell you what tempts me. Shoving this boot here up you moralizing teetotalers you-know-wheres. I want a drink, I'll have a drink, and if you shan't let me, I'll go to them that will. No beer, no votes. Extra momentum to the progressives, or run a smear campaign against these immoral bacchanalians. Reduce momentum to the moderates, extra momentum for the progressives. Let's just throw a ton of momentum to the progressives. I think that's the smarter way to go here. The ethics of exploitation. Debate. The government's attempts to pass colonial resettlement law has brought the ethics of colonialism to the forefront of public debate. We have no right to interfere, control, or exploit. They say we bring civilization. We bring misery and oppression. We rig the entire social economic structures of the colonies we serve to our selfish needs. Of the colonies to serve our selfish needs. Colonial resettlement is morally correct. 20% chance of 10% enactment success chance. 40% chance of 20% enactment success chance. 40% chance of minus 10% enactment success chance. Or, we can concede to some of their points. 50% chance of 10% enactment success chance. 25% of plus 20%. 25% of minus 10%. I'm going to pick the second one. I'm going to take a lowest possible chance of minus 10 because I only have 6. And I got the minus 10 anyway. Them's the breaks. How much am I getting paid from my colonies? Not that much. Golly. Oh no, I am getting a reasonable amount, particularly from Cuba. Not that much from the Philippines, interestingly. Huh? What's Britain doing holding Fernando Po? That's supposed to be me. How did this happen? I'm supposed to have Fernando Po. But it's Spanish territory. That's weird. Alright. What is causing tension here? Base tension, government legitimacy, turmoil, loyalism, net approval of conservative reactionary interest groups. Okay, alright. Interesting. Alright, so we're getting a port built in Valencia. And then we need to build some iron mines in some places where we've got excess infrastructure. Okay, it's the capital. The capital is the place to build. There's legislative failures event. I'm not going to read this. You know what how this goes. We got our first setback. We're back to 6% enactment success chance. The levies. Juan Lavalla has made overtures to the rural folk for electoral support for the moderate party. Nazario Aguilla has at least acknowledged the talks. Appeals for natural allies makes for a gamble on long odds. Receptive ears to natural allies are often already of like mind. Those who aren't of like mind would politely continue on their own way. Impolitely, they might laugh, scoff, or if they're truly devious, turn the gambler into their own useful idiot. Old minds think alike, 20% momentum for the moderates, or grass tends to grow as it pleases. 10% momentum to the moderates, increased political strength of aristocrats and farmers. I'm going to go with the second one. That seems like less of an effect on the election. Still a pretty healthy gap between the moderates and the progressives. Gosh, this port's taking a long time. Do we have construction sectors on iron? We do. Okay, I can't deal with that. So, sorry, but I gotta just do it the other way. Also, I should normalize production methods. I completely forgot that that was a thing you could do. Alright. Production and agitation. In collaboration with the moderate party, Victor Saez has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise. A crate of several thousand pamphlets printed on an industrial scale, each with instructions of the voting process, and a cheaply copied logo of the moderate party. They made a hefty weight, and he hoped would turn out to be of an equally sized benefit. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, extra momentum for the moderates, where these connections could be used later. Not as much momentum, but he becomes ambitious. I'm going to use the second one. There's a Hungarian Revolution happening in Danubia. Interesting. So this is a pretty common event, it seems like. Things go tits up with Hungary. Seems like we are progressing upward just a little bit. But the cash flow problem is a problem. And I don't rightly know how to solve that for the moment. I think pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across Spain, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term in government. The first thing I take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes, which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? How would these adventures be profitable, or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The moderate party makes decisive arguments, or the electorate trusts the progressive party's policy. It's 30 momentum to the party that I choose. I'm going to pick the second one. That's going to increase the progressive party's momentum significantly. And that'll be what it is. Law debate failed. Well, that's going to cause legislative failures once again. The Ottoman and the Austrians are also... Oh, the Ottoman Empire is just involved in this. Why can't I get involved in this? Oh, because I don't have an interest over there. I've got interests in America. Which is going to be the case. I should have intervened in the Dominican uprising here, but I didn't. There's legislative failures once again. Now, I could negotiate. I could potentially get the Catholic Church on board. So if I hit this button, let's just see how this works. Well, actually, no, because the Catholic Church is not part of the government. I'm going to increase taxes. It's going to really cause a lot of radicalism, but hopefully it won't be as much when the election finishes. And I'm suppressing the Carlists. Alright, I've got my free reform. Oh, I still need the moderates in the government because I get most of my legitimacy from this due to that event. Oh, I feel silly. Alright, well, we're doing a Big Tent party once again. I may have borked myself. Well, that's okay, I guess. I guess that's what we're doing. Isabel de Bourbon is aligned with the petite bourgeoisie. So once she's actually heading up the country, then we'll be in a better spot. Okay, so let's negotiate with the petite bourgeoisie. They're going to give us a lot of enacting chance. After several rounds of terse correspondence, the petite bourgeoisie have met the region's representatives and outlined their demands. All legislation, all government, all society is founded upon the principle of mutual concession, politeness, comity, courtesy. Upon these everything is based. Let him who elevates himself above humanity, above its weaknesses, its infirmities, its wants, its necessities, say, if he pleases, I will never compromise, but let no one who is not above the frailties of our common nature disdain compromises. Henry Clay, a man who ran for President of the United States a frankly comical number of times and never won it. Place their members in administrative positions, gives us reduced bureaucratic capacity, makes the petite bourgeoisie stronger, increases enactment success chance. We must invest in light industries. To build 5 levels of light industry within 10 years. Full promises fulfilled, reduced amenability. I'm not sure what that is. Let's find out together. How willing an interest group is to negotiate the enactment of laws. Okay, interesting. Private construction contracts reduce private construction allocation, reduce construction sector throughput. That seems terrible. Will not negotiate until the commitment is kept. Will support colonial resettlement, causing excess chance. Okay. Lowering taxes could help the economy. Overall taxation set to low. Interesting. Or these offers are not in Spain's interest. Reduced amenability, reduce interest control. Well, I wasn't able to look at them without doing this, so that's a shame, but it is what it is. Let me see. I do have an excess of bureaucracy right now, and this will decay. So let's do this. We'll do this first one. That's going to help us get colonial resettlement passed. Oh, but this is going to cost me more bureaucracy once I finally got it passed. Well, maybe that was really dumb. Oh no, it seems like I still got enough bureaucracy for it, because it's only 104. Alright, beautiful. Well, hopefully colonial resettlement will go. Ooh, and now I got treasury bonds active. That's nice. So, I'm currently at high taxes. I think I'm going to drop to midland taxes. Or to middle high taxes. That puts me in a legitimate government, which isn't bad. I could drop to medium taxes to get myself into a righteous government. And that would mean not that many loyalists per month, to be completely honest. I would have hoped I could get more. Why is this number so low? Oh, I wonder if it's just because of my electorate and electoral... If my electorate is small, my electoral confidence is low. Now, where is the investment pool? The investment pool is really pathetic, is the answer to that question. But we're in consideration now, so that's good. So I can't stop building more stuff right at the moment. I think once I've got a few more iron mines running, I'll be able to get us up to iron frame construction in at least a few of these places. Let's build up another level of construction in Aragon, and do that fast, because that'll be done really quickly. I do think I need to be at high taxation. That's going to put me back to a legitimate government, but that's not really going to change the additional loyalists per month, which is the thing that I'm focused on right now. Super bourgeoisie are very happy at this point, because they endorse the change now, because I negotiated with them. Interesting. They are Democrats. They would love a move to a genuine democratic system. Which the armed forces would also like. So that'd be interesting. I'm feeling a little short of... Oh, interesting. A couple of my rivalries fell apart because I became too powerful. So who can I rival? I can still rival the Netherlands and Brazil. Let's rival Brazil. And let's rival the two Sicilies again. Let's rival the Ottoman. Alright, I am still improving relations with the United States. Let's get improving relations with the Dutch once again. Belgians I still can't. Let me see. Let's improve relations with the Papal States. Two Sicilies is rivaling me back. Very good. And then let's start improving relations with our former colonies. When this started, I was thinking I might try to reconquer them, but maybe now I'll just be better friends. Rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Ramon Maria Narvaez, leader of the armed forces, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of colonial resettlement. Making an appearance before the public in Madrid's main square, Ramon Maria Narvaez's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts from the speech are already being circulated across Spain, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly, 15% enactment success chance, or performances like these reflect well on Ramon Maria Narvaez and his cause. 10% enactment success chance, but he becomes more popular and the armed forces get stronger. I'm definitely going to do that second one. That's definitely going to be where we're going. So, we're building a lot of iron mines now. That's going to allow us to go to iron frame construction. What is the primary... I think from there, we build more tooling in Castilla Nueva, and that helps solve our tool situation. We need coal as well, so let's build that up. Oh! Santo Domingo requests protection, fearing for their safety. Santo Domingo has requested to once again become a captaincy general of Spain. I am but humble instrument of the Dominican people, sir. Every soul on that island yearns for the benevolent touch of Madrid. There just remains the small issue of my status in the new administration. Accept the Dominican proposal. Santo Domingo enables colonial law. Santo Domingo becomes a Spanish puppet. Santo Domingo enables colonial administration monarchy law and governance principles enacted. Gets Cibao insurgency, increased liberty desire, extra radicals from low legitimacy. Deteriorates relations with the United States by 30. Negative event diplomatic catalyst is triggered by Spain. Or turn them down, this would just mean trouble. Reduces relations, improves relations with America by 1. I'm going to accept. And we'll start improving relations. Let's take a look at our subjects. All our subjects are pretty low in liberty desire, except for these fellows, but they'll be getting down there pretty soon. Let's reduce subject payments for all of our subjects. I know this is not a great time because of our low, our general taxation situation, but the impact is so small. We really are paying a lot in interest right now, and we need to be paying less. I think we don't necessarily need the tooling workshops right now. But I think it's time to start going to iron frame construction. And let's start here in Aragon where we were before. We are continuing to increase our iron output. Oh boy, there's a lot going on. Let's see how that affects our market. Yeah, iron remains expensive, but we're building more iron mines right now, so that should be helping. The Spanish Reformed Society. Someone has assisted with founding a national organization dedicated to uniting the liberal movement under a national leadership. It bears mentioning, then, in the case that we succeed, what are we to do? The structure we are building may endure for generations. To allow it to dissolve would be a tragedy. We cannot depend on all who join to continue to bear the torch going forwards. Our camp contains many people, all with their own reasoning for lending their ears. We must not imply to them that we demand their compliance on any other matter. They're harmless at worst, stronger liberal movement, or send them a firm reminder of our disapproval. Weaker liberal movement, stronger, more active liberal movement. I'm going to go with the first one. I think having a stronger liberal movement is just fine. Organized crime. Criminal organizations have begun operating in Galicia. It doesn't matter if we arrest one person or solve one crime. It will keep going unless we go all the way to the top. Put some funds into stamping out these organizations, a small amount of government expenses, or I'm sure the authorities can handle it, reduce authority. I'm going to sacrifice some authority, because I think losing a consumption tax is actually less overall money than that other thing. To Spain's journal entry is progressing aligned with the liberals, which is pretty good overall. Obviously, we had a diplomatic incident with the United States, but hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. Hopefully they will stop rivaling us soon. And let's see what happens in Austria. We played as Austria before. Hey, we're in ascent. We're in ascent. We're almost there. Colonial Resettlement away. Let's see. Petit bourgeoisie are happy. Armed forces are happy. We do have an investment pool actually built up now. Coal situation is pretty rough. Okay, tooling situation is actually continuing to be rough. Actually, coal situation, we need even more coal because we don't have the ability to import the amount of coal that we need in order for things to go okay. Okay, on infrastructure for Valencia, but we can't build up more. I need to get coal out of... We're importing too much coal. How much are we spending on subventions right now? Not that much. How much are we spending on subsidies? Not that much. How much are we spending on military wages? A lot. That I can actually cut. I don't need armed forces to be all this expensive and happy right now. They're currently already pretty happy. I can live with them where they are. Let's... Oh, man. I'm okay with them in the middle. I'm okay with them in the middle. I don't need to save money that badly. But I think once this round of constructions is finished, I need to stop constructing. Because that's going to mean my... because that's the only way I'm ever going to get my finances under control. I can theoretically get some benefits from selling access to my economy to other countries, but that's a risk. The atmospheric engine. Through the widespread introduction of the atmospheric engine in the mining industry, productivity is at an all-time high. When steam first began to pump and wheels go round at so many revolutions per minute, what are called business habits are intended to make the life of a man run in harmony with the steam engine, and his movement rival the engine in punctuality. I'm sure we can squeeze a little more from these machines, extra throughput, or perhaps there's an even better way, extra progress towards water tube boiler. I'm going to take the progress towards water tube boiler for the moment. I think that's better long term. I'm absolutely going to need water tube boiler as time goes by. Maybe I don't need modern sewerage that much. I'm not too barked on infrastructure, but I think I do. I think that's still the best way to go about things. And there's Colonial Resettlement. So, let's declare interests in Africa now. Let me see. We'll go for Zanj. And then we'll get some colonization going. Let's take a look at these states. Do we have... I think we have the ability to colonize here. This area has malaria, but this does not. We'll see. We'll see if we can, or if they're... Oh, I think they're... they're claimed by Morocco, so that means we probably cannot. But it won't be a problem once we're in Central Africa. The Hungry 40s. I should say southwestern Africa. An outbreak of crop disease in Pskov has begun to spread across much of the European continent. With a failed harvest looming, fears of famine have begun to circle. The doctor prodded the potato with his instrument and leaned aside so that his colleague could do the same. Could see. I just completely guessed what the word was going to be. I was blinking. That's what happened. So that his colleague could see. The tool's blunt tip had sunk a centimeter into a discolored patch on its flesh. It's the blight, I'm afraid. Were I to inspect any other tuber from the field, the results would likely be the same. As it stands, I recommend extraordinary measures. Calamity. Option 1, 50% increased disease outbreak harvest condition impact, 30% rye farms throughput penalty, 15% wheat farms throughput penalty, or set up funds for purchasing foreign grain. Half the modifiers costs the government money. An extra trade advantage for imports. I have to do the second one. I've got to keep the country running. How much am I spending on construction right now? Quite a bit. I'm close to half of my my debt limit, so I'm actually in a very bad place financially. Damn. Spain's economy is really between a rock and a hard place at the beginning of the game, friends. Intelligentsia are extremely upset. Let's see what we can do to help out. I think I might have to do... I think I might have to go to per capita taxation. I think I might just have to. I think it's too much... I think my finances are too wrecked to hold out for a better one to be discovered. So let's do it. That's going to make my my landowners a little unhappy, but they'll just have to live with it. They will be... Wait. I did it again. I hit the button and I didn't hit enact. Alright, 7% stall chance. Let's hope that improves. No, let's hope that stays where it is. Ooh. Landowners are unhappy. I have a strong abolitionist movement. I'm going to need them later. Ooh, it looks like maybe... It looks like the Austrians are winning this war. So maybe they'll annex Hungary. Looks like Hungary is broken up. Slovakia is broken off from Hungary at this point. We'll see how things go. Relations with the Russians are improving. I should be sharing... Nope, the Belgians are just sticking to their own, which is exciting for them. Yeah, I can't colonize up there, but I can colonize in these areas. Niger Delta has just regular malaria. Yes, they do. Does it make sense to start before I've got quinine? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, I do also have reasonable markets for glassworks, surely additional textile mills, and additional furniture. So I could for sure build up my light industry, and that would be a sensible improvement to my economy. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, let's go ahead and queue those in. Oh, not in Valencia. Need to be careful about that that infrastructure number. Let's build them up in the capital. And Catalonia, obviously. And then for furniture manufacturers, we're going to double furniture output. Catalonia is getting close to no more infrastructure, but we'll build up Castilla and Nueva once again. Grassroots support for law. The political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for per capita taxation spread like wildfire across Spain, spurred on by charismatic speakers and lively debates in small-time social clubs. They're backing what now? Well, who are we to complain? While their support was never a prerequisite for success, it sure doesn't hurt to have it either. Public enthusiasm expedites reform, 20% enacted success chance, industrialists happier, or use this common ground to calm the masses, 20% of lower stern pops in Asturias become more loyalist. I gotta go with the first one, much as I love the loyalists. Per capita taxation is just better done sooner. It's me or them. Francisco Javier de Asturiz, leader of the ruling landowners, has had enough of compromising with his coalition partners. He has demanded that either his collaborators follow his orders, the landowners will never approve of their changes. That's what leaders are for, right? I lead, you follow. Sounds rather simple to me. If they wanted to lead, they could have been leaders themselves, but I guess no one else thought they could. It's my way or the highway. What a ridiculous thing to say. He loses popularity and his interest group disapproves. Or very well, landowners should be the leading force, pisses off everyone else. I'm going to go with the first one. I don't want to piss off all my other interest groups while I'm trying to get per capita taxation worked out. Sorry, landowners. They're still only stalling the thing a little bit. Landowners are pretty weak in this Well, maybe not. I don't know. Hard to say. But I guess there's not much left over after my giant success chance, so here's hoping that carries us. Drifting towards a pretty low base tension, which I'm pleased about. Drifting towards the liberals very, very slowly. Petit bourgeoisie are extremely happy. I could afford to piss them off some. Let's see. Low organization in some of my armies due to low command capacity. There we go. Paper, tools, iron, and wood are still expensive. Let's get a little bit of glassworks going on as well. Because I do have some lead being produced in my market. Actually, that's not the right place for these. I need Alta Andalusia and Murcia. How are we doing in terms of infrastructure? Alta Andalusia is where we need to produce these glassworks, because this is where the lead is located. And again, I know I'm costing myself huge scads of cash by continuing to build up this this industry. But I've gotta. I can't keep importing all my staples. I'm just feeding cash to other people's economies at this point. How's iron doing? We're in consideration. Excellent. I got a little bit of influence to play with. I am improving relations with the Papal States and a bunch of other people. No, I can't take over the Papal States. The Egyptian-Ottoman crisis. The Ottoman Empire's attempt to take back control of the Levant from Egypt has become an international incident. Our involvement may tip the balance of power in the region. As 30 minutes past midday came, the messenger with a single wax... At 30 minutes past midday, came the messenger with a single wax-sealed envelope. Chill winds followed at his stumbling, breathless gait. Every other general and advisor gathered around the regent cried for decorum. The messenger brought it forward with a choking gasp about its origin. Egypt. The Ottomans were coming for Egypt. We must keep an eye on the region, as declared interest, or we have no interest in this crisis. We need to keep an eye on the region. Meanwhile, there's something going on in Sweden. Could negotiate support. The British are likely to align with Sweden now. What could I get? Just an obligation if I aided the proletarian revolt there, so we'll leave that be for now. Delicious water. How long have we been going? Just over 2 hours. Alright, not bad for the first episode of the series. I can keep going though. I got a lot of oomph still left in me. Oh, interesting. I see. So the first time the People's Entry is showing for a bunch of different countries, but it's almost done for me. Screw Frigate. Excellent. That's true. Frigate was a jerk. Let me see. Hungary 40s is only another 2 years. The Columbian Pact has been formed. What are you? A cultural commonwealth. Shared canon. So this is the new type of power block that exists. And because they're holding the Indian Territory and Liberia, their baseline cohesion is borked. That's extremely funny. You know, I hate... Hold on. Hello, what's this? A Piedmontian radical revolt. Oh, interesting. Bavaria is aligned with the government. I can get an obligation, but that's all. I'll leave it be. We'll see what becomes of that. Oh my goodness, Switzerland is in a radical revolt as well. Come on, get me to assent. Heck yes. Harvest conditions started in Spain. Alright. Work on the tooling workshops is going okay. I think I may need to decrease the size of the military. I think that's just simply what we need. I don't need these cuirassiers. Reduce the size of the military a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm overdeveloped on cavalry at this stage. I certainly don't need all these irregular infantry, that's for sure. I know those cost next to nothing, but them's the breaks. So, I think for the Northern Army, I'm going to drop a couple Lancers. Now, I am reducing my rank here, so I need to be careful with this. But I can get myself a little bit of sneaky power projection by increasing conscription capacity. And that makes people more nervous about trying to fight me, which is good. So one of the things you have to be aware of in this game is who's interested in fighting you is a very big factor in whether or not you get into wars. An army large enough to prevent wars is still very, very good. Speaking of which, I actually have the ability to increase my infantry up to skirmish infantry, which I do want to do as soon as I can, but I also need to be conscientious of the cost. Upgrading them would reduce my, would mean I could reduce the overall size of the armed forces, which would be better in the long run. Spanish-French Fellowship offers opportunity to acquire trade privileges with the French Republic. Interesting. The negotiations done at the table with a representative of the French government have been long and arduous. The French representative knew that they were dealing with a group without power to match theirs, and had adjusted their strategy accordingly. Nevertheless, they had come to an agreement. Nothing in writing, but that was hardly important. When the government sent the official copy, if they did, they would find that there was already a drafted response waiting in Paris. We'd be happy to pursue this, or this is not in our interest. We'd be happy to pursue this. Interesting. France is doing a republic. Let's do trade privileges. Let's wait for a second for the lobby opportunity to be created. Okay. And then, they like it a lot. Can I get some money out of it? A little. Oh, no. Not nearly that much. Well, that sucks. Weird. All right, let's send the proposal. Landowners petition government. Dissatisfied with their current limited role in governance, the landowners have issued a petition urging the government to take immediate action to enact free trade. I've received a statement from Monsieur de Histories, began the secretary. He wishes to stress that this is not an ultimatum. The minister raised an eyebrow. Elaborate? He reports that he would be unable to assure his associates that the government represents their interests, were the government not to take, quote, meaningful and imminent action to reinforce the statement, unquote. An ultimatum, then. So it seems. We'll see what we can do, or they must understand the present situation does not allow for this. So if we say we'll see what we can do, this means we have to do, free trade. Hold on. Let's see if we get per capita taxation. So that's much better for our finances. Now, so the reason this matters is while this journal entry is active, we will be unable to reform our government. And we get reduced enactment time. Or they must understand the present situation doesn't allow for this, that costs us some legitimacy and pisses off the landowners. I'm going to do the first one. Going to free trade is just fine. I'll definitely be able to do that. 2 possible actions. I can discard the petition or request an extension. So these are both new. We'll take a look at what those mean in a minute. But first, the empty pockets event. A series of perceived poor decisions by the pro-slavery movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We do not wish to appear partisan, always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his tiny office, fists clenched, until it felt as if his knuckles were about to burst through his skin. Occasionally he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his desk, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did it mean? That they cared for something? That they'd chosen to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself, spreading slavery across the empire. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find alternative sources of funds. 2% of pops in Castilla la Nueva become more loyalist. Pro-slavery movement loses some pop attraction. Or everything dies in the end, some faster than others. Pro-slavery movement gets significantly weaker, but no free loyalists. I'm going to do the second one. Having a pro-slavery movement is bad. Prussia's having a radical revolt. Golly. And the British are going after Oman. So, we just got per capita taxation. Let's go to free trade. Everyone will be pleased with this. Wait. Oh man, I'm going to keep doing this. This is going to keep happening. And there's the Barcelona Convention between me and France. That's lobby opportunity complete, and we're finally in the black while constructing, which is pretty good. Now, how is the investment pool? Investment pool is doing okay. But this is sustainable. I can sustain like we currently are doing with our current rate of construction. And building up light industry is going to be really good for my my economy overall. I am a little short on engines. Who needs engines? Railway. Where have I got railways? Who's railing? Oh. General training available. Nice. I bet it's Santo Domingo. I bet Santo Domingo has a level of railways. They don't. Curious. I don't know how that happened. Well, sadly I can't find out, so them's the breaks. Interesting. Looks like the Egyptians are winning their war against the Ottomans. That's cool. I'm rivals with the Ottomans. Maybe we'll steal Cyprus when the time comes. Maybe we won't, but maybe we will. We'll see. So, let's take a quick look at the market overall. More oil. Golly. Let me see. Wood is still a big issue in our customs union. We are on logging. What about hardwood? Where are we with hardwood? Hardwood is pretty affordable. So I think there are some places we could reduce hardwood production to make There's consideration. Very good. To make our economy more efficient. Actually, it looks like we could do even more. Oop, not that one. The other one. Okay, so that's made hardwood a little bit more expensive, but it's made softwood a little bit cheaper. So that's good. We still need more iron mines. How are we doing in terms of infrastructural capacity in Castilla la Nueva? Looks like we're still pretty alright. Atocha Railway Station. Extra prestige, extra railway building throughput. That's pretty neat. I could use that. We're maxed on iron mines here. What about Extremadura? Oh, we don't have much iron mine capacity at all here. Alta Andalusia has pretty good iron mine capacity. And pretty good infrastructure, so let's build more iron mines here as well. Britain, old buddy, old pal. What do you want for Gibraltar? This might be a mistake letting the British invest in my economy, but I'm going to try it. Excellent. Again, I might have just borked myself, but now Alta Andalusia is whole again, which is really, really good. Because it means, and there's modern sewerage, wonderful. Because it means, so what's going on here? Sardinia Piedmont is going after Morocco to make them a protectorate. Law progressed to ascent. Wonderful. I think I'm happy with this situation where it currently is. Very pleased about free trade, hoping that goes down without a hitch. Yeah, okay, so we need some engine industry, which means we need some steel industry. How did that change my infrastructure capacity? Alright, so it created a lot more infrastructure capacity in Valencia. Let's build up some paper mills. Papal states, why are you being such salty dogs? Oh, I have a shortage of bureaucracy now. How could this happen? Oh, because the petite bourgeoisie are not as powerful anymore. How did this happen? Because of that decaying frickin' modifier. My throne secured is no, that's still, it's decaying. It's not gone, it's decaying. Alright, so that means I do need a little bit more government capacity. Is there anywhere I'm short on taxation cap? There is. Paia Vasco is unincorporated. Well, that's no good. Alright. Hold on. A lot of things are happening all at once right now. First, I need more, why are we short on construction efficiency? Because of the trade unions. Gosh dang. Those nerds? Alright, so they're buggering my construction capacity. Now, I have an illegitimate government because the trade unions popped into the Progressive Party. Alright, so the Progressive Party just need to be out. And this is the best way to do it. Well, sorry. I really thought we were all going to be in a big happy family together, but I just got to do it this way. So, we've got a new election. It seems like the moderates have much greater momentum than the progressives this time around. We'll let the chips fall where they may once again. We'll add ourselves a... We'll continue to have events and elections. We're almost at free trade, which is going to make things better. My finances are down really bad right now because of the shortage of taxation capacity. So we'll get that going as fast as we can. The Crusade for Change. The ongoing effort to implement free trade has captured the imagination of the moderate party, which has added full-throated support of the new law to its central platform. The country yearns for change. For too long, we have watched the nation suffer. Is it not right to call for upheaval? Is it not right to call for the changes that are long overdue? I tell you now, we must embrace the future. The moderate party are the champions of change, or the people shall speak, and the people speak, and the nation shall listen. The first one gives us extra momentum for the moderates. The second one gives us extra enacting success chance. I'm going to go with enacting success chance. I want to get this done. Although I guess there's not all that much more that I need to do right now. Once this government admin's complete, we'll be in a much better spot. There's mechanical tools. That's extremely good. Unlocks Pina Palace. Where is that? It doesn't say. Government buildings mines. Well, it's somewhere. Birds of a feather. Juan Navaya and Philip Valdez were spotted in discussions about the upcoming election. Preachers the next day were extolling the virtues of the moderate party. The first estate and the second estate, hand in hand since the oldest glories of imperium. A more modern appellation for the holy marriage is hearts and minds, a glorious leader to capture their hearts, and a magnificent God to occupy their minds. The Catholic Church are beyond our reach, 30% momentum for the moderate party. Let's hope they don't decide the election, 10% momentum to the moderate party, extra political strength from clergymen, and political strength from the votes of clergymen. Or never trust a true believer on worldly matters. Valdez becomes more popular, a political clergyman, and Laval becomes less popular, religious coercion scandal. I'm just going to go for the extra momentum. It seems like they're doing well. Indefensible extortion. An orator from the landowners has gone on a speaking tour across the nation, denouncing mercantilism and praising the value of free trade. When we consider that the theory of our great system guarantees to everyone the full enjoyment of all the fruits of their industry and enterprise, it is clear that anything other than the free flow of goods is an indefensible extortion and a culpable betrayal of our values. We work towards a common goal, extra enacted success chance, or the landowners have a truly remarkable speaker among them, they become happier and stronger. I'm just going to do the first one. I do not desire stronger landowners. No, sirree, I do not. We've discovered egalitarianism. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Uh-oh! We have a national awakening in the Basque country, which is up here, I believe. Yeah, and this is the territory that we're incorporating. Ooh, I hadn't even thought about that. Please tell me Catalonia is also incorporated. They are. Alright. We are building up the necessary bureaucracy, which should also be improving our finances. At least a little bit. Yeah, the Ottomans have definitely been stomped in this war, so we'll see what comes of that. Is Egypt independent yet? That's probably what this war is about, actually. The popularity contest. The eyes of the electorate will turn to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for Spain. I quite like de Histories, mused one of the men at the bar. Couldn't say what it is I would agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Well, why not? God knows you could say the same about any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. Francisco Javier de Historis is the man of the hour, extra momentum for the moderates. Or, a term of Juan Mendezabal is what the country means, extra momentum for the progressives. I'm going to go for extra momentum for the moderates. This is going to put them in a very good spot in terms of the election. Yeah, they're gonna clinch it real good. Still, this number's still making me a little nervous. This number's making me even more nervous, though. What happened to this? Did I get something goofed up here? We're just losing money a bunch now. Oh, it's because the private sector is not building anything. That's what it is. Well, again, hopefully, as we build up the, how are the trade unions non-marginalized? There's free trade. All right. So from here. And we're still basically as legitimate as we can be. Any other government reforms we would wish to do? Okay. If I click this button, now I can see what this will look like. So 26% stall chance from the landowners. Go to wealth voting. If I go to universal, it'll be more because the industrialists are also against it. But the petite bourgeoisie are for it because they're liberals. Interesting. Do I want to do this? Well, there's the election. So I can reform the government. We're in a righteous government now, which is good. And I could boot the Catholic Church out and retain a righteous government. Are they going to help me do any of the things I want to do? Doesn't seem like they will. So let's do it. So that's one option. We're getting really good tension at this point, but we're not making a huge amount of progress for the liberal side of things. This is why I want to reduce land on the cloud. All right. So here's what we want to do. And is it universal that we want, or is it census? I think census. So census means a really strong petite bourgeoisie. They're currently liberals, but which does help us. Armed forces also like liberal praetorian. Yes, they're the ones who want census suffrage. So actually, census suffrage is where we're gonna end up. So let's try this. All right, the landowners have become mad, but we'll see where we can go without them. This has made a lot of our other interest groups happier, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. No one is amenable to negotiation. The Catholic Church are indifferent, but I can pull them back into the government. Their stance is pragmatic. So I could pull them into the government to get more support. Let's actually do it. Catholic Church. After several rounds of church correspondence, the Catholic Church have met with the regent's representatives and outlined all their demands. All legislation, all government, all society is founded upon the principle of mutual concession, politeness, comity, courtesy. Upon these, everything is based. Let him who elevates himself above humanity, above its weaknesses, its infirmities, its wants, its necessities, say, if he pleases, I will never compromise. But let no one who is not above the frailties of our common nature disdain compromises. Perhaps if we invested in more universities, let's increase the amount of universities in our states from 2 to 9 within 10 years. Okay, that's workable. Lowering taxes could help the economy. Vow to improve the lives of common people. Improve the SOL to 11.5. Oh, that's tough. Universities it is. I was going to do that long term anyway. So, let's see. That's pretty workable. Let's build up a level 5 one in the capital to get the bonus for that. And then we'll put 2 levels in... Hello, what are you? Sagrada Familia Cathedral. Stronger Catholic Church. Which have invented reinforced concrete. Interesting. We'll build a level 1 university in Catalonia. Level 1 university in Castilla de Vieja. And a level 1 university in Valencia. And that's how many levels of universities? That's 7. Alright, that's workable. And it's not going to be too long before we can get that done. I'm going to move my iron mines up above the textile mills here because I think we need to increase the size of the... we need to increase construction. Ooh! The US and the British are fighting, and I can't get involved. The British are trying to liberate California, Haudenosaunee, and Deseret. And the United States are trying to get Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. That's funny. The United States has elevated the Kodoha faction and adopted the Strike North doctrine. Wonderful. The waves of crop disease that racked the European continent throughout the hungry 40s have subsided. Whilst the blighted fields may never again be able to host the affected variety of potatoes, other crops are expected to make a full recovery. Did you hear? They're selling a new kind of potato seed, one that isn't blighted, or so they say. The man leaning on the other side of the fence raised an eyebrow. About time. Too late, even. I had to have my kids eating hay to make it through the winter. You got off easy. The family down the road lost theirs. Too damn late indeed. Extra agriculture throughput, thank goodness. Or can we be certain it's over? Reduced authority, extra trade advantage for imports. I'm just going to go with the extra agriculture throughput. That's fine with me. Commitment to valued investments. Okay, here we go. So this is what it is. Okay, the British want me in as their ally. I accept. Oh, this army needs another leader. Let me see. General Manuel Gutierrez de la Concha. You are a royalist aligned with the armed forces. You seem like a good person to give a field marshalship. This seems normal. It's gonna be really normal. All right, let's mobilize this fella. And we'll put him at the front. You know, I don't need to really get deeply involved in this war. I just need a few thousand dead so that I can sit at the peace negotiations as a man who has fought. Surely this will not be a problem. Oh goodness, I need more bureaucracy. We'll build that real fast. Let's build it real fast.
Uh-oh!
My Carlist movement is revolting. These fellas gotta stop. Tell you what. What are they about? It's because they hate census suffrage. They hate our freedom. Well, Britain, I might not really be helping out at all. With no organization, this army probably isn't going anywhere fast. So we'll put you on defense for now. Come on, census suffrage. So if the Carlist movement pops off, what's going with them? Wow, a ton of the country. Oh boy, that's going to be rough. I'm going to need someone's help on that. When you have a hammer, General Ramon Maria Narvaez, noting severe unrest in Asturias, has proposed using the army to suppress agitation in the area. Whilst his political allies support him, there is heavy risk to following his plan. It's simple. We have an army and there is the enemy. Let me deploy my men and do it as needed, and the enemy shall be vanquished. That is all there is to it. Reprimand the general and reject the plan. Salty armed forces. Or we must use the tools we have to solve the problems we have. 33% chance the revolution goes down. 66% chance it goes up. I'm going to do the second one. Ultimately, that doesn't affect all that much, and I need to get going here. Letters to the condemned Stall event. Following the arrest of a prominent opponent to census suffrage, Victor Saez has begun a public letter-writing campaign to demonstrate support for them. I hope that you've been well. We are praying for your swift release. This injustice is one that has been mercilessly exposed. All of these and more are shuffled inside the mailbag as the courier neared its destination. The letters must flow freely. Increased prop attraction but reduced activism. Trade unions unhappy, allowed distant letters. Or ensure that none of this drivel reaches the person. Extra enactment success chance. Carlist movement more active. This is interesting because they're predicted to go to 100% activism. So actually, if I do the second one, reducing their pop attraction is going to be better for me in terms of how the Civil War goes. Since they're going to 100% activism already. There's the war with the Americans. The end of spring. The international trend of radical thought and revolutionary sentiments is coming to an end. Perhaps it is too early for us to agree whether our attempts ended in success or failure. I would like to believe that we've set in motion forces which will continue to advance our goals long after the fires of this era have gone out. The world is changing. So that's the end of the Springtime of the Peoples event. My army is still pretty badly situated overall, but hopefully they will not take part in the advancements until they're sorted out. I'm suppressing the Carlist movement to the greatest extent possible. This is making me thirsty.
I'll be back in a second, friends.
Sometimes you have a thirst. A thirst that only democracy can satisfy. Well, it seems we, the British, are losing, but that's okay. That's okay. It's only Britain. If the United States tries to naval invade me, I'll have to mobilize another army, but But not at the moment. Oh, interesting. So the Carlists... because there's a Carlist revolution happening. Well, that's going to make them weaker. A window to utopia. A group of people inspired by the utopian theories of Joaquin de Abreu y Horta have established an experimental colony in rural Extremadura. The colony styles itself as a window into an idyllic future society. The title of page is given to those who serve kings. It belongs more rightly to those who serve a phalanstery. For a phalanstery is God in action. It is the spirit of God, since it is composed of the 12 passions harmonized by passional attraction, practical truth, mathematical justice, and unity of action. Hence, to collectively serve the phalanstery is to serve God, and it is thus that domestic duties are envisioned in harmony. If this primitive branch of industry were disparaged as it is today, passional equilibrium would become impossible. Inspiring, extra migration traction, extra radicals from political movements. Nothing will come of it, half the modifiers. Or insurrection in the making, 2% of mill start and pops become more radical. In Extremadura only. I'm going to pick the middle one. Nothing will come of it. Those guys, they wanted to do a lot. Cause without a rebel. Although Juan Lavalle is still fighting for his cause, no one is following him anymore. He's a pro-slavery guy. He's the authoritarian. Despondent, Lavalle has started publicly remarking that they may give up on his activism altogether. What's the point? Speakers only have any speak to empty halls and in empty chairs. There's no crowds, no banners. If anyone pays attention, they never understand anything we're preaching. What reason is there to stay here? We're all stuck doing nothing. Perhaps he can find greener pastures elsewhere. Juan Lavalle is exiled. Or no time for timidity. The movement needs drastic change. 33% chance each of the pro-slavery movement getting more attraction, less attraction, or more activism. I'm just going to pick the first one. He can go. I don't need an authoritarian in Spain right now. I can live without it. Ooh, I can do another consumption tax. Let's not. Can't really make that much money off of it, to be honest. My army is at 50% organization right now. Unwanted legislation. The landowners are unhappy with the proposed Census Suffrage law. They've joined the Anti-American Association, criticizing the United States of America's enactment of a similar law. Oh, that's fun. We could not possibly support the proposed Census Suffrage law. Look how it has failed the people of the United States of America. One of the landowners' members agreed. We must use any means necessary for defeating that whole Census Suffrage project. Condemn the landowners for their efforts. Appeasement of the Anti-American Association increases by 1. Landowners joins the Anti-American Association. Landowners get stronger. Or don't the landowners have other matters to attend to? Increased enactment time. Landowners joins the Anti-American Association. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't want to increase enactment time, but I think it would be good to... Well, I don't want to make the landowners stronger either, so I'm going to pick the second one. Who is the Anti-American Association? The Anti-American Association are doing all right. How could I make them happier? I'm going to rival the Americans. That's going to make the Anti-American Association a lot happier. That's going to make the landowners a little happier. Carlist movement, still revolutionary. Yep, they're currently militant. So, cash flow is going okay. I think a lot of this is gonna be tough from here. I'm gonna need a lot of help. France, old buddy, old pal. Oh, I have a defensive pact with the French already. Nice. Oh yeah, the Quadruple Alliance. Alright, so I'll bring in the French to help me against my rebels, and that'll be just fine. Come on, Census Suffrage. Heck yes. We're doing it. Liberalism away. If America wins more battle here, I can return my my armies to the country. And that'll be good. The rebels' doctor. A doctor in Extremadura has been caught aiding wounded dissidents and revolutionaries. His aid isn't just helping his patients, but it's emboldening the entire rebel movement. The doctor's defense attorney leaned back, nursing a small headache. The medical man had proven impossible to work with. His attempts at defense had just dug a deeper hole for himself. His waffling was painful, and his refusal to trust his counsel or even his kinfolk had ruined his chances of getting a lighter sentence. His persistent denials had served to only make his name mud. Investigate the medical profession in Extremadura for sympathizers. 20% of academics pops in Extremadura become more radical. Or this doctor was obviously a lone wolf. There's no need to follow up on this. Reduce the revolution progress by 5% to 2% of pops in all of academics pops in all Spain become more radical. I'm going to pick the second one. I have very few academics in Spain. All right, so. What if I embargo the Americans? I want to get the Anti-American Association happier because that'll make the landowners happier, and hopefully if they get enough happier, then this will stop being a thing. Let me see, 110 days until the revolution pops off. Maybe I'll mobilize the lads. Let's go to more iron frame construction, get the construction queue running a little faster. Just a little bit. Gotta get those universities made, you know? I promised the Catholic Church I would. I got another 10 years for it, but, you know, it's not... getting better construction is good. Alright, so we got our army on their way back home, which is just fine. Let's bring them back to Spain. What's in our market? What have we got a decent amount of? Decent amount of sugar, maybe at least? Yes, we do. Decent amount of sugar, decent amount of tobacco. Decent amount of liquor. Alright, I'm going to activate our sugar, tobacco, and liquor methods. It's actually going to make our army significantly more expensive, but that's okay. Students rally to the liberal movement. A group of students attending the university in Castilla la Nueva have arranged a demonstration in support of the liberal movement. The display has inspired other students to join the cause. The lecture hall was barren. There were always one or two students missing for illnesses, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats to their sides. It was material for a lecture of its own, he thought, like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed, so followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead Spain into the future, stronger liberal movement, reduce university throughput, extra universal pop political strength, or they ought to focus on their studies. Half the modifiers, 5% of academics pops become more radical in Castilla la Nueva, and no increase to the liberal movement. I'm going to increase the liberal movement because they're the movement that's allowing me to do what I'm trying to currently do. I could negotiate with the landowners. That might put this revolution to bed. I would almost prefer to not have a revolution. But weakening the landowners is always a good proposition. Huh. What an interesting option. If census suffrage works, we'll be good to go. You know what? Let's try it. Let's see what we can get from the landowners. Despite ungentlemanly comments, raised voices, and the shaking of fists, the landowners have admitted to several compromises that would change their perception of census suffrage. After I delivered the regent's offer, I became incredibly grateful for the lector in front of me, my hardwood shield against the onslaught of the insults and physical detritus that was tossed at my person. I raised my arms but kept my voice level. Gentlemen, please. I concede this offer may not be all you hoped for, but the regent is quite adamant. Census suffrage is the future of our nation. Put them in charge of the treasury, costs us a huge barrel of cash. Okay, definitely not going to do that. Or lowering taxes could help the economy. It's the same one as it always is. Commit to leave taxes at very low for 4 years. Interesting. Really interesting. Honestly, it'll cost less to fight a freaking war. These offers are not in Spain's interest. Come at me, landowners. Let Carlism find its grave in the soil of Spain once and for all. Why do I have so much transportation when I don't have any freaking any railways? I don't know. Come on, Census Suffrage. Hell yes. We're there in Ascent, so probably I will end the episode as soon as the Civil War kicks off, because I have been recording all afternoon. Let me see, where are we at? Yeah, we're closing in on 3 hours, so that'll be fine. And there we go. Spanish aristocratic revolt diplomatic play. So, let's get the lads together. They've got a lot of territory, but we've got a lot more of the army. And we can pull in our allies. The British, the Russians, the French, the Portuguese. Let's hope that calling in alliances will be enough. Papal State sides with the Carlists. Sure. I'm very curious. Alright, so. Hold on, I have a freaking... I have a defensive pact. I should be able to call them in with a defensive pact. Okay, I can get the British with call ally. Alright, now I can get the French with call ally. Beautiful. Alright. Now I'm not at all worried. Ultimately, the ones I wanted were the British, but... Or were the French, because the French are very able to intervene in this manner of situation. I could get the Portuguese as well, but I don't think I need them. Portugal is not that strong. Due to an iron shortage, they're holding all the iron, the areas that are producing iron. So I need to go to wood frame construction for the time being, but I'll be able to be building more later. It's okay. This revolution needs to happen. Forced comparison is very good here, so I'm hoping we can knock it right out. Philippines want mutual investment rights? Sure. I think we get one more shot before the end of the year. We'll go to the end of the census suffrage question. We've got a very high chance now. And the Austrians are going after Krakow. Or no, the Austrians are going after Sardinia-Piedmont. To conquer Piedmont. Wow. There's the war. We got a lot of allies around. Let's make sure we're all on offense. And let's get this party started. Hopefully this will be the end of Carlism in Spain. Oh, look at that little hat. Oh my goodness, look at that hat. That's the hat that's the logo of the Carlist movement. Oh, that's fun. Or of Carlism, the ideology. Right? Yeah, there we go. It's that hat. Oh, that's great. That's a great hat. I'm all for this war, actually. I changed my mind. The Carlist wars are based and good. They have cute hats. I know we're losing money, but things will be better later. We're already making great progress with the aid of our allies, the French and the British, and India, and all of Britain's holdings. Hopefully that won't bite me in the butt later. And there's the percussion cap. And there is census suffrage. Wonderful. So now our elections are going to be much, much better. We're going to see what comes of that. We still have electoral clientelism. But hopefully if we continue to allow the dice to fall where they may, the Tuileries Charter. A religious convocation. Oh, interesting. Do we have a religious France? Oh man, it would have been so funny if I'd panned down and they were doing state atheism. It would have been the funniest ever. I was just going to be so pleased. I was just going to be like, hell yeah. Danish national awakening has begun in Zealand. Well, them's the breaks. I think I'll finish this this war. Trade privileges allow person. No, thank you. I don't wish to have you invest in me, Prussia. Only the British may invest in me. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, this war is going to be done really soon, so I think we'll just get to the middle of the year, and that'll be the end of it. And that's going to have really dire impacts on the two Spain's journal entry, I think. Yeah, we're definitely... Yeah, we're going up to 61% because the conservative interest groups are really weak now, just on account of there's no... The landowners are totally out the government. And we're going to see what comes of that. It shouldn't be too long before Isabel becomes the ruler once again. Alright, so now I need to reset my production methods. Sawmills. Stockyards. Fishing trawlers and sawmills. Fishing trawlers and stockyards. Okay, you know, some of this stuff is hard to figure out. Alright, let's get a couple of our construction sectors back onto iron frame. Now that we've got the country fixed up again. yeah, we've got armies mobilized. The Royal Guard is really, really large. How are we in our war with the United States? What's our war support? It's at minus 48. Do they have any war goals against us? Doesn't appear so. I'm gonna capitulate. I don't need to be in a war right now. Whew. All right, and finances are back to something resembling normality as we get going into the middle of 1846. It has been 10.5 years since the start of the run. I'm going to put a consumption tax on fruit. That's going to generate a lot of cash flow. We've had a wondrous and excellent run here so far. We've improved the economy of Spain a little, more later, as the devastation from the second Carlist Civil War finishes out. The two Spain's journal entries progressing very much towards a liberal victory, which I am pleased about so far. The Carlists have just lost another civil war, so here's hoping things will be good. But that is all I've got time for tonight, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun as well, and I will see you on the other side.